Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. I am your host, MrBevers. We're going to do something a little different today. We're doing a draft recap video. We did a ranked draft of Rivals of Ixalan, and we went 7-2. So why don't we recap what the deck was, what we drafted, and how it performed. So without further ado, let's get right into things. Now you'll see me in the bottom left. That's right, face reveal time. But you will not hear me talking for the first little bit here because I've sped up the draft process because it took about 25 minutes to draft this because we were talking to chat and doing this live on Twitch. So we talk about here which card we're going to start with. And of course, our first pack here, we have Dire Fleet Daredevil, which is a standout card. And I talk about it quite a bit and how good it is. And I talk about how it's probably the right pick to take out of this pack. It's a very, very good card in Limited. It's just a very good card all around. However, I make the choice to go with the Merfolk instead. And the reason is just because I prefer the Merfolk deck over the Pirates deck, personally. Now, that's just a personal preference for myself. But I talk about it a lot here before I take anything. Because the Forerunner of the Heralds, which you see me highlighting there a few times, is actually quite good as well in Limited. Mainly because it's a 3/2 body for 4 that lets you go and get another creature out of your deck and put it on top. So, I talk about the other stuff that's in the pack as well. Forerunner cuts green pretty hard. Not that cutting green really matters against the bots, because the bots don't really pay attention to signals, really, in my understanding. I mean, they're supposed to, but it doesn't seem like it works 100% of the time. But that being said, there's also a lot more that could wheel out of this pack for red. Not so much for green, blue Merfolk. So it's kind of an iffy choice to make. It ends up working out for us, as you saw, since we did go 7-2. But the point is that, you know, in hindsight, I think the Daredevil would probably be the better pick here, and take it over the Merfolk. But you live and you learn, and you draft. And sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. So without further ado, let's continue on here. We've picked ours, so then we're going to keep going through here and just make a few more picks. So now it's just going to be sped up here, and you'll see all of the draft picks. So I hope you enjoy, and then we'll get into the gameplay once the draft's over. So there's our draft. You saw all the picks we made, or maybe you only saw some of them. I will post the unsped up version of these as separate videos. I'll cut out each game and I'll cut out the draft and I'll post them all individually as well in case anyone wants to hear the actual commentary from the Twitch stream. And then you'll be able to pick up that. But this is just a voiceover for now, so that you guys can get a little bit of a background information about what I think about it. So analyzing the draft, we definitely made some wrong picks. We picked a Wild Growth Walker in Pack 3 over an Air Elemental for some reason. I don't know why we did that, but we did. We also made some other questionable picks where we picked, like, the enchantment that makes 1/1 hexproofs over, like, a dive down, like a combat trick. I'm not sure why we did that either, but hey, we did it, so... I mean, it works out for us, I think, in this game. I think we do get to play that enchantment and make a bunch of 1/1s, but that's how it goes, right? So we're into game 1 here, as you can see already. And we are playing against what looks to be black-white vampires, but opponent has not done anything except play a 3/2 on turn 3. They've done nothing. They have 5 mana and they've done nothing, so it's kind of like we're in the beatdown plan. We want to be swinging with as much as we can. For some reason, we don't swing with our other 2/1. I don't know why that is the case. Or our other 2/2, I should say. Don't know why we didn't, but we didn't. So we should have been swinging with everything there, probably. Because if he eats one of our 1/1 hexproofs, we're fine. We just get more damage in. I don't know why we didn't swing. Especially with the pressure we have on the board, we should have been swinging with everything. But anyway, let's see how the rest of game 1 goes. Well, there you go, everybody. That's game 1. I don't think it goes very well for us here. Yeah, we draw 1 with the wind, and that's about game for us. That game got turned around on us quite severely. The Golden Demise really blew us out. We didn't have any way to protect our guys against it. We didn't draw any of our late game threats like our 6/6 or our 3/2 flyer or any of our Ascend flyers. We had a lot of ways to get out of that game if we had drawn them. We just didn't get there, unfortunately. And opponent drew a lot of removals, so they were able to just basically wipe our board and then remove the bigger threats we had. So it happens. We definitely made some misplays, I think, in my opinion. I think we shouldn't have blocked the 5/3 when we did with our 6/5, because it would have given us the chance to draw another Merfolk and make him bigger so that he could block if we wanted to, or even draw our 1 with the wind and swing in with a giant thing in the air. Things like that. So, you know, we probably should have eaten or just not blocked that turn, but maybe that also was wrong. I don't know. It really depends on what we were going to draw. Anyway, moving on to game 2 here. Our opponent plays the Marauder, which is very annoying. However, we do have the Adzokan Archer in hand, which is a very good answer to that card. It's kind of iffy not to kill the 1/1 unblockable guy, especially in a Merfolk deck, but getting rid of that Pirate really helps because it's a 2/1 that basically has to swing in every turn, and if you have any flyers, you're not going to be able to block it unless you have 2. So it's going to get out of hand and you're going to take a lot of damage. I'd rather be taking 1 damage a turn every turn rather than 2 in the air. So anyway, we played Forerunner into Forerunner here, which is like a supreme combo for getting in quite a bit of damage. I think he puts Sea Legs on there and then just bounce, but like Sea Legs on our guy is like not a huge deal because he's going to get a whole bunch of 1/1 tokens. Yeah, so I think here we ended up, yeah, and then we swing, because now all these guys are can kill the 1/3s, which is important. He could have technically triple blocked our 4/3 if he wanted to kill it. I don't know if it was the right play, but he could have. Here we have a pretty good play. I don't know why we didn't play the Jade Bearer to get another counter on both of our dudes. I'm not sure what our thinking was there, but we had the game pretty locked down. I mean, you can see we hit him, he went down to 3, and then he just conceded. So that was a very quick game 2, right, compared to game 1. Game 1 was a little bit more drawn out. Game 2 went quite a bit faster. So let's move on to game 3. What's happening in game 3? So our starting hand in game 3 is not amazing, but it's not terrible. So I believe we keep it. We have all our colors. We have a 2-drop. So I think we kept this, and we were hoping to draw a couple more lands here. Like even 1 more land is good because then we have the Pioneer and the Adzokan Archer. We don't really want to put the 1 with the wind on the 2/1, but you know, if we had to, we would, I guess. But ideally we wouldn't. So yeah, so this works out well. We've got a 3/3 hexproof flyer now. Things are looking pretty good for us. We're cracking in for 5 a turn, and our opponent has been doing nothing. So I think here we just play we just play the other flyer because we know that we're getting in with all the flying guys. We see if the opponent has an answer for 6 mana to the flyers. He doesn't. So that's pretty much just game right there, because that's 8 damage in the air, and game over. Game 3 done. See, so you can see this deck is quite a bit faster than it was in game 1. Game 1 was very drawn out, mainly because he just had that 4/4 lifelink. And we didn't draw any of our evasion, really. We drew 2 evasion flyers in the first game, and that was it. So this hand is quite a bit worse. We're into game 4 now. This hand is quite a bit worse. So we had to mull down to 5/4. So we go to 4 because our opening hand was 2 lands of 1 color and then all cards of the other color. And then our 6 was only 1 mana and our 5 was only 1 mana, so we couldn't keep those hands. So we mull down to 4 with 3 lands and a sky shape, the 2/1 flyer shape. I can't remember the name of it. Sky Shaper or something else like that. Anyway, we come up against like a blue-white Ascend deck, and like we're just like we are in dire straits mainly because we are, you know, we're way behind on draws. I think the reason we didn't attack there is so that we could block the 2/1 if he swings with it. Yeah. And the reason we want to block the 2/1 is just because, like it's gonna get a lot of damage through on us, especially since he has the 3/2 unblockable. We definitely do it this way. He can block the 6/5 and kill it, but it just trades, so that's fine with us. Yep. I think we lose this game to the unblockable guy, yeah. We didn't draw any removal for the unblockable guy, unfortunately. Yeah. So, I think we just lose this game to the unblockable guy. Yeah, that's game. So, we lose to the 3/2 unblockable, just because we didn't draw an answer to it. So we're now 2-2. We are now 2-2. So now we run super hot and go 5 wins, right? Because you've all seen from the beginning of this video that we did get to 5 wins. We got all the way to 5 wins. Or I should say, we got all the way to 7 wins. So we got 5 wins in a row here. So let's see how we run on these ones. Alright, so this hand is good. The starting hand here at least was good. I mean, we lost that game because we mulled to 4 too, so I mean, like, you know, you can win on mull to 4s, but like, you know, the chances of it happening in limited is not very high. But it can happen. It can happen. Oh yes, right. The Deep Root Waters pays off quite a bit against this guy's deck, mainly because it makes a whole bunch of 1/1 hexproof guys that can block like his Menace Pirate and his 2/1 trample guy, or his 1/2 trample guy, I should say. He dual shots our dude just to get in for an extra point of damage. Which seems interesting to me, but he did it anyway. This allows us to keep our flyer alive, which was pretty nice. Like, the fact that he tapped out his pinger to be able to essentially get 1 more damage into us. And then he, like, pinged our 1/1 for no reason. So I don't know what opponent was doing there. Like, he had a 2/1 attacking 2 1/1s, and then he pinged 1. I think he thought maybe that would remove the blocks, but because the blocks had already been declared, it's too late for that. Like, it's... So this game is rapidly coming to a close here. Opponent is also stuck on 3 lands, so unfortunately, opponent didn't really get to play too much Magic here, I don't think. And I don't think that they're on mono red. I'm gonna guess that they're not on mono red, but I don't know. Of course, you know, with MTG Arena, it doesn't let you, like, reveal your hand at the end or anything like that, so you can't see. Opponent couldn't basically be like, hey, like, I was stuck on red, right? Or stuck on missing these specific land types, that kind of thing. So, he swings with this 1/2, and then he pumps it to get 2 damage in, but he still loses it, so, like, we're okay with that. We pump our dudes up quite a bit. Yeah. And then we just crash in with the boys. Yeah, and there it is. That's game 4. Win 3, game 5, right? Yeah, that was our 5th game, and we won it. So now we're 3-2. Right, 3-2, moving into game 6. 3-2, moving into game 6. Let's find out what happens here. So again, another decent opening hand. I think this is the first time we've seen the Sword Tooth. We drafted it, I think, in our 2nd pack, and we had just never drawn it. So here it lets us play an extra land out, which is kind of nice for us, although we're kind of short of forest. So we only have 1 green source, which is kind of awkward for us, but we're almost at our Ascend trigger now, because we have 9 permanents. So blocking here seems like it might not have been the best choice, just because we were so close to Ascend. But it ends up working out for us because we get the enchantment that lets us make a 1/1 and then also just get in for the damage with our 5/5 and our 4/4 flyer now. So now we have a 4/4 flying hexproof flyer, and opponent has 2 lands. So things are not looking great for them. I think we just block there just because we could. We crash in again. I'm not sure why opponent didn't block with the 4/2 and the 1/1 to kill the 5/5. Like, especially since he didn't attack, which is kind of interesting. So now he's gonna go here. This is a blowout for us because he puts on Sure Strike to try and kill the 5/5, but then we remove the enchantment and kill his dude, and it 3-for-1s him, right? Because he loses his dude, his enchantment, and his trick. And so that's the end of game 6. It's the end of game 6. We are now 4-2. moving into game 7. So, again, this is another decent starting hand. We have all of our colors. We have 3 lands. We're able to play our tap land, and we don't really have a 2-turn play, which is kind of awkward, but we do have the Sword Tooth again. Again, here's the Sword Tooth, and we get to play another land. Again, we're short a forest. We would like another green source with our current hand. Ooh, this is awkward for us, because he's going to probably take... I would imagine he takes the enchantment here. I can't remember what he takes. Yeah, he takes the enchantment out, which is really actually unfortunate for us, because we really wanted that enchantment in play. So that way we could play out the enchantment and then also the Jade Bearer. But, you know, these things happen sometimes. So we're almost at Ascend again. We're going to be at Ascend next turn just because we have another Pioneer in hand. So this should be okay for us. Yeah. We play the Pioneer here. I hope anyway. Oh, we don't play the Pioneer. Okay, I guess we want to get the Flyer out. We want another Flyer out, so we play the Flyer. Opponent is playing like a Esper Ascend deck by the looks of things. So we're gonna play out our... I would assume we play out the Pioneer here. Okay, we're choosing to play the Jade Bearer. He Hornswoggles it. So opponent Hornswoggles our 1/1 for 1. And then they Riverwise Augur. So we had an opportunity to take one of these in the draft, and I chose not to. I'm not a huge fan of it. And the reason being is because it actually just is kind of like a mediocre card to draw late game. For instance, you saw there, he drew 3 cards and then had to put 2 back. So he has to put 2 cards back on top of his deck, and it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, well, which way does he do it, right? Like, which card does he put back that he now knows he's going to draw? So he knows what he's going to draw for the next 2 turns, but if he drew, like, 2 lands and something, like, he's kind of in an awkward situation. So there, he just got a contract killing and murdered one of our dudes, which we're okay with. It's not like the end of the world. He spell pierces our city, but we still have enough mana to just draw, so we do. We don't swing because we want to be able to block. Yeah. Alright, the Exokan Archer is good for us because it gets rid of another flyer for him. And then we play out the Ranging Raptors. And here we don't attack, I don't believe. Right, because opponent is at 5. We're waiting for something, right? We're waiting for some sort of... And then opponent just concedes. I don't know what happened. He just conceded. Opponent just conceded. They just conceded. Like, they basically were like, I think I'm dead next turn if he just Alpha Strikes me because I don't have enough blockers for the Flyers and stuff. And I think that's what happened, but I don't know. So again, here we're on to game 8 now. We are now 5 and 2. We're now 5 and 2. Yeah. So we're on to 5. We're at 5 and 2. We're on to game 8. It looks like opponent is playing some sort of blue Ascend evasion deck. So I think we didn't attack there because we knew that he wouldn't trade, and then we wanted to trade our 2/1 for his 2/2, but he had the dive down, which is actually okay with us because it means that all he did on his turn. So opponent is playing green-blue Ascend with some evasion. We eat the 2/2 because we know it's going to get hexproof and unblockable if we don't. So opponent is very aggressive here. Lucky for us, we're basically going to like pump out a whole bunch of dudes and sort of just kind of fill up the board, and opponent is on 2 cards in hand. So again, he's being very aggressive here. We're just taking it. We're going to 7. We have to be careful of you know, basically another Tempest Caller. If he has another Tempest Caller, it's bad news for us. But if he doesn't, we're in very good shape here to stabilize. So like, see, we didn't attack with the 5/4, and if we had attacked with the 5/4, he would have tapped down the 2/2, and then we would have only had a 1/1 to block, and we would have been dead here. So that's why we didn't do that. So here, he's just dead. All we have to do is put this 1 with the wind onto our 7/6 and swing in, and away we go. There it is. Game over.
Look at that. We lost our first game. The very first game we lost. Then we won 2, lost our second game, and then we won 4 in a row. So now we're up to the mythic 6 and 2. This is the game. This decides it all. We either go 7-2 or we go 6-3 and go home in disgrace. Couldn't get there. Couldn't finish.
Okay, thank you, Past Mr. B. Let's get right into game 9. We have an interesting starting hand here. We have 3 mana, and we have an Edzoken Archer, and we have 3 4-drops. So we're hoping that we draw another land, and yet we draw another 4-drop. So we play this Edzoken Archer out just for a blocker, and we don't fight it because we don't want to give him life. He plays at a Territorial Hammerskull, but we get our 4th land, so we're in good shape now. We can play everything in our hands, so we're going to just start throwing things out on the field. He comes in with the... we think he's going to swing in here with the Territorial and the 2/2, but then he turns out he has Squire's Devotion, and he plays that on his Territorial, which makes it very awkward for us because we can't really block it favorably. So we're like, okay, well, I guess we play out the other Spirewinder here. I think this was a misplay. I think it gave him an extra turn that we didn't need to give him. But anyway, it definitely works out for us in the late game. You will find out momentarily when Past Mr. B comes in for his commentary here at the end of this game. But... so, we get to play our Jade Crafter and get in for some damage here. And the Jade Crafter is the play I was talking about earlier, where I think we should have played it sooner, because if we did, we'd be able to do what we do right now.
Okay, so we have a couple options next turn. Maybe we should have played the Jadecraft Artisan like a turn ago to prevent us from taking an extra 3. So if he swings here, yeah, like this is fine. So he's gonna tap down the 1/4? Oh, really? Alright, well... just snap block, I guess. If he has a trick here, it's probably fine. Yep. Like, we want him to use his trick here. Yeah, that doesn't do much. It just bounces, so that's fine. Got our island. So now we have a send. We're gonna hunt the weak on this guy. He has no trick in hand, so his dude's dead now. Yep. You gain 4 life, but now you can't attack in, which is nice. We can play this man, which is a nice little 2/1 on the ground. And this 1/4 is a good blocker now. Like, he just sits in front of everything. So we're at 11, and opponent is top decking, so we're in good shape. Oh! He just concedes! Opponent just concedes! Wow. Wow. He was riding that Territorial Hammerskull to victory, and when we murdered it, opponent was just like, I'm out. I'm out. I'm done.